Hi everyone, Josh here from Transition Breath. I'm just going to do a short video to give you some tips on how to navigate certain challenges in a breathwork session and the different sort of practices that you can bring in at any point when you hit those sort of crunchy parts of a session that almost definitely will arise. So the first one that I highly recommend checking in, especially at the earlier parts of a session, is movement. Movement is key because when you allow yourself to move your body, when the energy is building up, it can help shift any tension that might be building in the physical self. So this movement can be small, very subtle movements. It might just be simply allowing the breath to actually ripple through the body. And what I mean by that is allowing the spine to move with the breath. Allow the pelvis to rock back and forth with the breath, and just sort of exaggerate that very subtle movement that takes place every time we breathe. The next sort of iteration of that would be like moving your arms, moving your arms with the breath, or banging your arms on the ground if the tension is feeling particularly strong. If it's in the legs, then banging your legs with your arms. So just giving yourself that permission to move your body can really help release tension, support the body relax. And then also through movement, it can actually just amplify the experience as well. So sometimes just that simple movement can make the energy that's building up in the body during the breathwork session go into a place of flow. So that's step one, or that's one sort of element that you can bring in if you're struggling with tension in the body. The next one is sound, and sound is really helpful. And often we start to notice that tension arising in someone because the mouth, the jaw becomes quite constricted. People can sort of suck in the breath in this sort of really constricted way. Or you would start to feel tension building in the jaws and the lips, and you'll go to ask someone a question, they'll be like, I can't talk, I can't move my mouth. So these are indications of tension building in the jaw. So the jaw naturally is connected to our voice, which is connected to our throat. So it's about really allowing expression to take place in this area here. In our society, we really don't allow or support authentic expression particularly well, especially emotional expression or emotional truth. So often it's, as a first step, it could simply be checking in with what needs to be expressed right now, or what holding am I doing around the energy. But you can also do simple things like make some noise. And I typically, as a first step when I'm working with clients, is get them to breathe in, and then on the exhale, just make a noise. So that's sort of like what we call a sigh of relief, a sigh like. So that sigh is sort of a inbuilt measure within ourselves that supports relaxation. So making that noise, supporting relaxation, will allow the whole body to soften, in particular this area here. Some people may feel called to do frequency or to make a particular elongated noise, a humming or a buzzing or something like that, like a tonal type stuff. So that can be really helpful as well. What I really get people to attune themselves to is not only making the noise, but actually feeling the vibration in the heart, in the chest space, in the neck, and in the jaw. and that really subtle vibration that takes place when you're making noise can really help move the energy in the vocal mouth area. Movement is also very helpful here as well, like stick out your tongue, ah, wiggle your jaw around, ah, move the mouth, and that's going to be helpful as well. What can happen for some people in a breathwork session, and for anyone really at any point in their breathwork practice, is you can come up against the ego and the thinking mind, the monkey mind. So the monkey mind or the thinking mind will just be like tick, 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 over and over and over during a breathwork session. And you're always like, why am I even bothering doing this? This isn't going anywhere. So when you have the busy mind, and that is quite common, something that is really helpful is pant breathing. So just making the breath a little bit faster for a period of time. So it looks something like this. So doing that pant breath, I like to think of it as like when you're trying to get the fire started and there's like an ember there and you just need to give it a little bit more juice. And sometimes all it is just blowing onto it, give it more oxygen. And pant breathing is a really helpful way to kind of just amplify the energy in the body. So just like blowing that ember in the body to ignite that fire a little bit more effectively. It also shuts the mind up for a little bit of time. And sometimes just doing one cycle of pant breathing, then come back to conscious connected breathing, see what happens. Did it amplify the energy? Oh no, that didn't work. Okay, let's do it again. Come back to the breath. Again, conscious connected breathing. So the pant breathing could go for any length of time. You don't want to get stuck in it because that's not conscious connected breathing. It's quite a forced yang style breath. But it is very helpful to kind of move out of the mind energy. The last one that I'll share here today, which I think is super important, it's ask for help. So putting up your hand in a session or talking to me if I'm working with you one-on-one and just saying like, I'm really stuck in my head right now. I don't know what to do, or I'm feeling a lot of tension in my body. This is really difficult. And that's when I'm able to help and I'm able to get clear direction from you and how I can support you in a session. What can happen is people just sit in this kind of place and they get to the end of the session and feel a little bit dissatisfied with the whole process. And then I'll ask them, well, what was happening for you? And they said, I just couldn't turn my mind off. I couldn't stop thinking. And it's like, well, okay, that we could have used that information during the session, or, oh, I had this feeling in my body and I just couldn't go there. It was really difficult. Again, that information is really helpful for me to be able to support you in your process. So that's just 4 tips that are super valuable and useful to come back to when you're doing a breathwork session, whether individually or in a group session. Reach out if you have any questions, and I look forward to providing more information about how to use and how to do breathwork. Cheers, bye.